VM overseas. So he's the person that you call on for anything that is happening in VM's overseas offices. He's been with VM Finance since November 2013 and was appointed to the board in January 2014 and has responsibility for the daily management of their operations. And last, but by no means least, we have Brando Hayden, who was appointed Managing Director of JN Fund Managers and JN Private Capital in May 2022, bringing over 2 decades of diverse experience to the group, having specialized in global treasury, asset management, and institutional sales and trading. Lady and gentlemen, welcome this morning. So today we're going to talk about Jamaica being open for business. And it's not lost on me that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade chose business to be the very first discussion of the conference. And when we talk about transforming investment and enterprise through diaspora engagement, I want to just bring that in a little bit. For us at Jampro is known for facilitating investment. And a lot of times, and every opportunity I get, I try to re-emphasize not just foreign investors, but local investors as well. But there's another part of investment. There's portfolio investment. There's the financial side, the stock market. And I see Marlene Street Forest is here. They're going to have a discussion later. And there's also real estate. And all of that feeds into opportunities for diaspora engagement. Now, we're going to do some questions to the panel, but I also am inviting questions from the audience. And we're going to do Q&A in 2 different ways. I'm going to throw my phone number out there for anybody that wants to WhatsApp me during the discussion so that we can have the live questions as the answers are being discussed by the panelists. So pen and paper ready. That's 876-566-0684. 876-566-0684. We'll also, at the end of the question section for the panel, have a roving microphone for any other questions that we have in the audience. We have a very tight time schedule. We're already running late, so we'll get right into it. The first question I have, I'm going to ask all our panelists to weigh in on this question. So one of the key messages that the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the Business Ministry, and Jampro has been pushing, and the Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade put it as the title of this panel, is Jamaica Open for Business. Minister, I'm going to start with you and move down the line. What is the main thing you would say to our audience about why you think Jamaica is open for business?
With possibly the exception of Guyana, Jamaica is arguably the best and most attractive investment destination in the Caribbean. Here's why. From a basket case 10 years ago, as recently as 2015, beginning of 2016, most economic writers called us a basket case. We had debt that was unmanageable at 147 thereabouts. We had high unemployment of 13.4%. We had a couple months of money available to buy foreign goods, about 1.9 billion. You've heard from Mr. Terrelong, and I mentioned earlier this morning at breakfast, we're across $5 billion. We don't even talk about that anymore. We have a stable currency. When we said, look, we're going to make the Bank of Jamaica independent of government and government interference from Minister of Finance, we gave them one mandate: manage inflation. The United States Fed has 2 items in their mandate: manage inflation and look after unemployment. We didn't give the central bank a second one. What that has meant is that we've gone through a pandemic where we had to spend $100 billion of money, Jamaican money, that we didn't plan to spend. And yet, we didn't borrow any new money, and we didn't raise taxes. In fact, for the last 8 years, no Minister of Finance under the Andrew Holness administration has raised taxes. What we have done with taxes is cut them. Cut the payroll tax twice and cut VAT once. When you're looking at that and the infrastructure build-out that we've had, and the fact that Jamaica now rests as really the place that must be the logistics hub of the Caribbean, given Guyana, Trinidad, and the rest, what's happening in the Panama Canal, or links to the biggest market in the world and to Europe, I'm saying to the diaspora population here today and those who might be listening to this stream, is Jamaica is the most attractive investment destination in the Caribbean, except for Guyana, which is an outlier because of the 11 billion barrels of oil that they have. And there is no foreign exchange control in Jamaica. Clean money comes in, clean money goes out. We have a legal system that takes us still to the Privy Council. You can't get a better place to do real estate. I met Christie's here last evening. I know Sotheby's are here. All the Jamaican real estate people are here. Look at our infrastructure. 20,000 hotel rooms going up, another 2,000 in the next 6 months. This is the place to invest. And Shulette hasn't told you yet about the orchard crops of breadfruit, avocado, ackee, and mangoes, but she'll tell you about that later on. I don't think I have to say anymore, but this is where your money should be, and I've been handling money all my life as a banker. Come to Jamaica.
Thank you, Minister. Grace.
Yes, covered so much, but I would just add to that the talent pool, because that's always something you're interested in. Highly trained, highly productive, and English-speaking talent pool. Our literacy rates are well over 92% in terms of that, so I always focus on that as well. I'd focus on the fact that we have a very stable democracy. I'd also focus on the fact that when you look at some of the endorsements we have received from overseas institutions around best destination, ease of doing business, some of the, we've had many plaudits around just how we're performing as an economy. So I just add those things to it. Very stable, strong regulatory framework, very supportive environment for starting a business and growing a business.
So I think it's very hard to argue when you look at the macroeconomic indicators that especially Senator Hill just mentioned. You look at Jamaica and you see look at our trajectory, and things look fantastic and things look amazing. But I think that there are, on a microeconomic level, that there are so many opportunities, especially as an entrepreneur, small business, and there are many services and brick and mortar businesses that I think there are huge gaps in the market. I'm from Negril and very biased, so you'll probably hear me talk a lot about that here on stage and try to get you to move to Negril and invest in Negril. But there are many businesses and services where you perhaps are living that are common, so to speak, that don't exist in certain towns and communities. And I think there is a huge opportunity of bringing some of those services here, doing well, as Ms. Burnett said. The talent pool that we have here to support your business and your entrepreneurial ventures is great and easily trainable as well. Yes, we have some challenges, but I think it's a great place to start a business and do well, especially if you have a good idea and doing something that doesn't exist here in the market.
Morning again, everyone. I think, Shulette, as we go down the line, you're going to be challenging for us to
Thinner
figure
and
out.
thinner.
It's thinner and thinner as to what to grasp, because certainly you took away the one that I was going to speak about. But nonetheless, one of the things is a combination of factors. We're talking about economic stability. We're talking about the strategic location of Jamaica. We talked about the strength of the financial sector, as Senator Hill made mention of. We talked about the skilled workforce. And in going a little bit further, when you talk about diverse investment opportunities, it is for us to have a grasp of who it is that is actually investing in Jamaica at this point in time. And one of the things I certainly have the opportunity of in sitting outside of Jamaica is recognizing that there are a lot of third and fourth generation Jamaicans who are currently investing. It is built on the wisdom of the first generation Jamaicans, their parents, their grandparents, and they now have that energy, and they're looking at these diverse investment opportunities. So you're thinking about tourism, you're thinking about, for example, I met with some Jamaicans who traveled from the UK about going into renewable energy. You're thinking about the convenience industry. So those things are there. Again, too, what makes Jamaica the perfect landscape is when we think of the trade policies that exist. The trade policies, in terms of being the strategic location, it affords them the opportunity to gain access to markets. CARICOM, you're talking about the United States. So depending on where you are, let's say, for example, you're in continental Europe, and you may have a bit of challenges in getting to the United States or even Canada, then how about coming home? Because we have the perfect landscape. You're Jamaican by birth, by association. We're going to own you, we're going to keep you. I say many of my high commissioners and my consulates are out there, and they do appreciate that it's significant. We accept anyone as long as you're saying you're going to be a Jamaican, a friend of Jamaica, and we will help you as to how it is that you can start a business here to at least create that wealth that we're looking for.
Great, thank you.
All right. So I'm at the end. Permit me to connect the dots a little differently, right? We can speak about the opportunities, but there's infrastructure that's in place in Jamaica, unlike some of our Caribbean partners, that allow us to actually grow, right? And allow us to push opportunities a lot better. And earlier, Shalette was introducing me to Minister Hill, not knowing that we'd have known each other from a long time ago, having even gone to the same school, different decades. But
2 years.
But it reminded me of a story of someone that came from the diaspora. So there's a gentleman from the community that went by the name of Prof. And he would come to the school, and it was a boarding school, and you know, when you had to lift out the suitcases, that kind of thing, he was always there to help. And parents would give him a tip, and anything that would need to happen around the school, he would be there, right? No shoes, tattered clothes, but spoke when lucid very clearly, right? And so he got the name Prof. So legend had it that Prof had gone to the United Kingdom many years before and sent money back home to build a house. Right? And I'd sent money for many years. And I know, I see heads nodding, this is not an uncommon story in our diaspora history, right? Sent money back home, and when he came home, he found neither house nor family and faced a number of mental health challenges after that, right? And so I'm trying to connect the dots for you now to understand that the risk management that is necessary, the infrastructure that is necessary to give you the comfort to invest in Jamaica is strongly in place, right? The capacity that is necessary for you to invest in Jamaica and know that your investment is secure, right, is in place. So I see Marlene Street, Forest here, and Dr. Ying from the stock market, from the stock exchange, right? What we also have is the Jamaica Central Securities Depository, right? What does that mean? That means that when you invest through the stock market, whether it's a bond, a stock, and they also do private equity and private debt at this point as well, you know there is solid record for your investment. You know you can, from the depository, know exactly how much you have. You get your dividend payments, right? Now, I've worked in emerging markets for most of my career. And so that is, you know, Latin America, Middle East, Africa, Central and Eastern Europe, right? And I can tell you there are first world countries and some of these other emerging market countries that don't have that kind of infrastructure in place, right? So JAMPRO, the stock exchange, many of the other government agencies that are here are natural partners for the country's growth, but natural partners for you to invest through and understand that when you come to Jamaica, not only are we open for business, right? Your investment or your participation is backed up by solid infrastructure. So I want to connect the dots that way because I think we have a long history, certainly in real estate, which is, you know, again, I'm with Jane Fund Managers. I think real estate is probably the greatest source of generational wealth and generational wealth transfer in our country's history. We have a long history in it, 150 years, so does VM, right? And, in that market itself, now, you can see that, with land agency, titling, so many of these other countries or regions that I would have spoken about don't have those things in place. There are a lot of areas that are growing very fast, but simply don't have those pieces in place. We have those in place. These are things that exist so you don't have to think about, right? These are the picks and shovels of the opportunity rush that exists in Jamaica.
Thank you for that. And if I can use moderator's privilege to just add a few more things, because I think two of you mentioned infrastructure, and we'd hear about these roads being built, right? It's now 45 minutes to get to Mandeville from the start of the highway to the end of the highway. And St. Thomas, I've heard people do it, not me. St. Thomas is opening up on the eastern side of the island. And it's all good and nice to have pretty roads. But for us at Jamaica, what it means is that you can now have a factory in Mandeville that can get goods to port in an hour and 15. You can now open up, and I'm sure Ministry of Tourism, I know we are at Jamaica very excited about the possibilities of tourism on the eastern coast of the island, a diversified tourism product that fits into that environmental landscape. It means that you can live in St. Anne and work easily in Montego Bay. And that, for me, is the business side of these infrastructure changes. I want to also mention digital transformation. Minister, last year, the Prime Minister appointed a minister in the OPM for digital transformation. And that has been going well. The ministerial focus on digital transformation has meant the national broadband strategy is rolling out to get broadband to all corners of the island. The data protection policy is rolling out. When we talk about our outsourcing industry, which now employs 70,000 people, for a very long time, we had to be focused on North America, because if you didn't have data protection, don't even talk to the Europeans. We now have data protection, and that opens up a whole new avenue. And the last thing I want to mention and segue into my next question is availability of financing. For the very first time in a very long time, we are faced with every single financial institution coming to Jamaica and saying, we have money. Who has a good project that we can invest in? And that is not a problem we used to have a decade ago. And so I want to ask the bankers among us, Leighton, Grace, Brando, what are some of the specific financial initiatives that your entity has in place to offer to people from the diaspora that are interested in not just portfolio investment, but investing in Jamaica?
All right, I want to start, and I want to paint a picture of Suzanne. Because one of the things that struck me yesterday is the number of young persons that are at the conference and the number of persons who are attending for the very first time. So let me talk about a development in Draxall. Draxall is one of the happening places. In that development, I found that over 50% of the purchasers were from the diaspora, not Jamaicans. When I started to delve a little deeper, I realized that most of these purchasers were late 20s, early 30s. Young. So these are not the typical Jamaicans who are getting a home because they're thinking of retiring. These are Jamaicans who want a piece of Jamaica now. Maybe easier to own in Jamaica than home, because I would say that the real estate is attractively priced. Mm-hmm. How do we help that person? So we have First Global Bank. And what we do have is a number of diaspora customers who save with us. How do we make that happen? Wire transfers. But for Western Union, we also have something we call direct to bank. So we have these customers who will send monthly amounts, making their first initial steps in preparing themselves to purchase. Once they're ready to purchase, we actually disburse loans to members of the diaspora. We fund quite a bit of that purchase price. Wow. And if they want to add a car, we also fund up to 90% of that. So we will give mortgages to members of the diaspora. Once you've bought that house, you need insurance, right? So we have 2 insurance companies that can do that, and we also have an insurance brokerage. So we're helping you to protect that asset. A lot of these persons, they don't plan to live in the home, so they also want to earn from it. So as they start to earn from it, they're saying, how do we manage this arrangement? We facilitate that as well. And so we're helping these young persons to collect their funds, to buy their groceries, and this is even taking out of financials because they can go online and buy from Hilo when it gets delivered to their guests. We allow them to collect whatever foreign exchange they need. We have an entity that does that, FX Trader. We facilitate the payment of their bills because through Bill Express they can get that done. And then we also allow them now to collect their funds. So we have in pilot now, which the young people will love, digital transformation, an app which allows them to use their credit card and to have those guests just pay, and it comes into their bank accounts. So we're helping Suzanne to purchase that house, protect that house, earn from that house, and to build her wealth. And then we have Andre, who's a little older. Andre may well have the homes already, and he wants to now get into the equity markets. We facilitate that as well through GK Capital. So we have the persons. We believe for medium and long-term investors, the equity market is very attractive. A lot of the stocks are undervalued right now. I think it's the best time to buy. And so we help them to do that as well. We know we have great interest rates on fixed income investments. We help them with that as well for First Global and for GK Cap. And we're going to be in the lounge because what we have tried to do is to imagine that journey from start to end and to figure out what are the things that we need to offer as Grace Kennedy to facilitate that journey, every step of the journey, to ownership, investing, planning, getting that piece of Jamaica. We're there for that person. And I just want to engage, I'm here all day, around, if I've missed a step, what is that piece that you need for us to put in so that you can get a piece of Jamaica, you can own real estate in Jamaica, you can start a business in Jamaica, because we're here to help you to raise the capital, to fund that business. We're here because we know that we really need you if we're going to get this done in the right way.
Thank you. Leighton?
One of the things that we're very proud of at the VM Group is our ability to connect with Jamaicans. What is critical to the success in terms of the initiatives that we have in place is that of the engagement and community building in the diaspora. Because once you're able to do that, then not only do we, and we have been enjoying pride of place in the diasporans, in the mind of diasporans, but what we're able to do is to help them to further their goals, their initiatives, support nation building, and also through our products and services, assist them to that destination. The PrepCom chair spoke of wealth creation through property acquisition. And that is something that we take very seriously at VM. But wealth creation can also come through investment. So when we talk about the overall investment portfolio, we're going to be speaking about whether it involves property, whether it's going to involve stocks, bonds, T-bills. And there are companies within the VM group that absolutely will be able to foster and provide those products and services. But going back to community engagement and community building, why is it critical and why do we lead with that? Because it is under that program that you find our financial literacy program. We firmly believe in helping our Jamaicans in the diaspora to better understand financial management, and also in understanding financial management to determine for themselves the products and services that they want that are unique to them. One of the things that VM did early out, and I'll give a little backstory, is that they sent me from Jamaica outside. And in sitting outside of Jamaica, why? Because we needed to better understand the needs of the diasporans and also be able to have representation at the seat, our table of change. And that has allowed us to better understand that the Jamaican who lives in Canada is different from the Jamaican who lives in New York versus Florida, who is different from the Jamaican who is in the United Kingdom. Yes, we're all Jamaicans, but our circumstances, they're unique. And therefore, what we have been able to do through these programs and these workshops, whether they're online or in person, is to help our people better understand their needs and select those products and services that suit their needs. Some of the other things that we have been doing is focusing on the cultural connection, because that is pivotal. And when you focus on the cultural connection, then what you're able to do is that you're able to help again and assist our Jamaicans to achieve their goals, not only in the adopted country, because we're always Jamaicans, right? So here is home. But we want to seek relevance for them, not only in the adopted country, but importantly here. And through these workshops, and also supporting the cultural connection, what we do is that we work closely. We work closely with the high commissions, we work closely with the consulates, and once we're able to do that, then what it means is that we're helping at the ground level to represent brand Jamaica. Now, outside of that, there are going to be the products and services. Right? So, of course, we do offer savings. When it comes to financing, there's personal loans, there's business loans. We're talking about investments. So within the building society, we do offer business services. With the products and services that we're able to afford, one of the things that Jamaicans outside want to know is, am I able to manage my business remotely? So you spoke about digitalization earlier. So we do have an app that many of our Jamaicans have been using that are in the diaspora. We do have digital and online services other than the app that are able to utilize so that they can manage their finances. When it comes to home ownership, we do offer mortgage loans, residential loans. We do offer commercial loans. We do offer working capital loans when individuals want to look at an institution that will be able to deliver for them. So what we have come to appreciate in that, in carrying out or executing our initiatives, we always have to lead, and it has really been successful for us, leading with that cultural connection, because that is important.
All right, thank you. Brando.
You know, I just said this all later. Right. But I think we have a similar history, both entities, Jane and VM. Our time in the UK and in the US, particularly on the eastern side of the United States and Canada, goes back for many, many decades. Right. So we're also culturally woven into the fabric of those diaspora markets. Our businesses are, I think, well tuned for the Jamaican space and also for the diaspora, in that everything that we offer to Jamaicans, we offer to the diaspora. So Grace would have given the example of Susan. Let me give an example of a company that we recently have done business with across the spectrum of our operations. So diaspora, Jamaican, retired engineer from General Motors starts a company with his son. They do a logistics business in the US. They recognized that they could actually better operate that logistics business with a call center here in Jamaica. And so they created one in Mandeville, right?
Nice.
And there is a need for employment in central Jamaica with bauxite now coming back up, but there was a time when things were down, and so there was a need for employment. And so they found very good, skilled people, especially out of the University Northern Caribbean, right? And so how do we meet? Where does the interconnection come? So Diaspora member has been a member of Jane. From Jane was a building society, now Jane Bank. Has been a customer, got mortgages through Jane, and when starting this business would have looked at Jane Small Business for a loan to get that done, and got started that way. We also have, through our subsidiary MC Systems, a payroll management system as well, which they've also utilized, right? They're at a point now where they've used Jane Money Services to do remittances along with Jane Bank, right? And so they're pretty digital in their application. And so they've literally replaced all the staff they had in the US and are operating here now fully. So they've leveraged our platform, digital and otherwise, to get business done here. What I should mention as well, they have other businesses. They have real estate in Jamaica, again, mortgages through Jane. But what we're probably going to look at next, there's a subsidiary called Jane Properties that does primarily institutional property management, but now also does residential and on a retail level. And so we have a lot of Jamaicans now that own property here and have leveraged the power of Airbnb's platform, right? So Airbnb is literally, we all know, it's like a digital hotel, so to speak. So all their billing, all of that is done through Airbnb, but the actual check-in and check-out is something that folks can look to JN Properties, for instance, to help manage as well. So all along the way, there's opportunity for intersection. The business that I run, JN Fund Managers, as Shuleta said, there's capital out there, right? And we look for projects on a daily basis. You know, so we've done a number of things with folks from the diaspora that have businesses here as well. And so, I mean, we from that perspective, you know, are very open to helping to raise capital, debt, or equity, working along with the stock exchange, working along with the FSC, and the Bank of Jamaica, all the regulators. And that's, again, you know, the unspoken about, unheard infrastructure that makes all of this possible.
Great. Thank you very much. And I think, as you said, there is a theme among all three in how you facilitate investments in real estate, business investments as well, that I am sure that anybody that goes to your booth in the marketplace will hear a lot more information about as the day goes along. There's a question that we got from the UK, and I think I know the answer. I would like to know, as a young investor interested in real estate, is there a minimum deposit amount to make your first purchase, or is it case-by-case basis? And I think the answer is case-by-case.
Negotiated.
No. Yeah, it's something that you'd have to discuss.
Yeah, so usually what happens is that vendors would ask for roughly 10%. That can change to 15%. But outside of that, though, you'd also need to save for what is called your closing costs. So what we usually tell individuals is that it's important that when you look at that purchase price, save at least 20 to 25%, because there's certain expenses that you're going to incur that you'll have to cover.
All right, thank you very much.
Some of those closing costs can also be negotiated. So.
Yes.
Closing costs,
yes. Agreed.
And processing fees. I want to ask Minister Hill a question now. The government of Jamaica, and I think you mentioned it, has looked strongly at the business environment, not just the macroeconomic fundamentals, but how easy is it to do business? And I know as the business minister there, I have 20 sister agencies in Jampro. But what are some of the things that the ministry is doing and that the government is doing that makes it easier to do business in Jamaica and make it more attractive for our diaspora?
Well, let's go to, if you're a manufacturer. And just last week, since I became minister in early 2022, I noticed our trade balance history. We've been independent for 62 years, and 61 of those years, we've had a negative trade balance. The last year we had a positive trade balance was in 1966, a long time ago. Now, I tell you that to say we in the government have put in a facility that enables manufacturers to do a lot more, and especially if you're exporting. Last week before last, I was in St. Anne at Lidford Mining, I can name them. They bought, Shlet was there with us, they bought a machine for $2.4 million US. That machine reduces the dust from, what they do, they mine limestone. And they mine limestone of an industrial and medicinal quality. So the toothpaste you use could actually have Jamaican limestone, and most likely Tums, when you have to take one, has Jamaican limestone in it. That's the quality of our limestone. So they bought this fantastic German machine, and it's very efficient. What they used to use 1 liter of oil on to make 1 ton of limestone mining. This machine uses the same 1 liter and it makes 5 tons. But for that $2.4 million US, because of a facility called the Productive Input Relief that the Ministry of Industry, together with the Ministry of Finance, have put in, they were able to not pay taxes and custom duties of up to about 500,000 US dollars. Now that's for a big importer. And you don't even clap? When you can't get it enough. All of you who are manufacturing anything can get that benefit for the machinery. But we do go better. The stuff that you use for manufacturing, raw material, if you were to import it, let's say you're doing wood products and you import wood from Guyana or Suriname, both of which have tremendous amount of lumber. In that manufacturing process, you buy a piece of machinery that does the wood. You have to buy the wood to make the manufacturing stuff. We give you the benefit on the wood as well. So the machinery and material, listen, Diaspora, there's no place else you should be investing but Jamaica. Come home, and that's one of them. So when you want to connect, Shulette just put in a business gateway at Jampro, where she has, I don't know, 20 agencies on it now, going up to 45 or 49 shortly, so that you sit in your office and make the connections to make your life easier to do business in Jamaica. Jamaica, before the World Bank evaluation went down because of a problem, it's going back up now after a few years. Jamaica was listed as the 6th easiest country in the world to open a business. But once you open it, you want to make sure you can continue to do business easily. And this business ministry, the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, you tell us what the problem is. A piece of legislation is archaic. I get my chief technical director and the PS, and I make sure, and the agency, if it's a company's office, and I make sure I write it till I get the cabinet submission and through to Parliament. That's why we are the business ministry. I have no fear at all to make sure, with clarity and with a clear direction, make sure we make it easier for you to do business in Jamaica. And that's just the beginning. You hear what the financial guys have done. It's an industry I know very well. And they have the government, the big part about that, the government has stayed out of the capital markets for the last 7-8 years. We haven't gone in the capital markets to borrow money. Usually the government was in there before we came in, crowding out the business sector. You couldn't have money to lend. Well, them tell you now, them have all the money you want, and given where the Fed is going to do shortly and where our inflation has come back into the range set by policy, by cabinet, that you can expect that interest rates will begin, I hope, will begin to come back to moderate and even make it more attractive to do business in Jamaica.
Minister, if I may just add to that, because just an endorsement, in Grace Kennedy, we run 5 factories in Jamaica, and we're able to produce at competitive levels.
Yes, that productive input relief is a big selling point. And I just want to add that Minister spoke about it for manufacturing, but it's also available for agriculture. It's available for the creative industries or the entertainment sector. It's available for healthcare, and it's available for the tourism industry. So 5 different industries that benefit from that. I'm going to take 1 or 2 questions. So I have a question. I want to start a business. How easy is it to start a business? You go to www.orcjamaica.com. That's how easy it is. You reserve the name that you want to start your business, and then there's a process that can take anywhere from half a day to 2 days max if there's deep research needed, and your business is open. So that is how simple. Minister spoke about these processes being online and Jamaica being the 6th easiest place to start a business. orcjamaica.com. And the second part of the question was, I want to invest in Jamaica. How do I assure that my investments will help the regular Jamaicans where they can be paid a fair wage? Well, I'll tell you 2 things. First of all, we just raise the minimum wage again. So fair wages by law are now a thing. And the second part is I mentioned that there are two ways, or a couple ways you can invest. Direct investments is where you're opening the business yourself. So you determine how much it benefits the regular Jamaicans. But also, if you choose to invest, for example, through the stock markets, you can use any of these financial institutions or any of the other financial institutions to research the stock that you're buying to make sure that their values align to your values in terms of what are their business practices, so that you make sure that when you invest, your money is going into a company that share those values with you. So I'll answer that question. Minister wanted to weigh in as well.
Quickly, not only do you go to or see Jamaica.com, is that the right one? Or see Jamaica.com to open your business. But I want to advise you, when you're opening a business, very often you talk to your friends and your family, and sometimes even a lawyer. Eventually you get to a lawyer to sort out your business. But that's not where you start. Listen to me. I've started businesses, I've run businesses around the world. Don't do that. Come to the government agency like JAMPRO, like JBDC, Jamaica Business Development Corporation, like Companies Office of Jamaica. Get their advice for free. That everything that the lawyer tells you they're going to charge you, and the lawyers will have to stay in business, but I don't have to worry about them. They're well trained and they know how to get clients. Right, Minister?
Minister, I just add to that for a lot of the entities as well, I'm sure my colleagues would be the same. A lot of these institutions, they put out weekly newsletters. So you actually can subscribe to weekly newsletters that tells you what's happening with a lot of these companies and can inform your decision making. So you can just sign up for these newsletters.
I want to mention the last thing. One of the important questions that person looking at starting a business was, how do I pay a fair wage to ordinary Jamaicans? When I started, I said when we came to government, unemployment was 13.4%. It's now 4.2%. Yes, thank you. All of us work for it. When unemployment was 13.4% and even 16%, it was an employer's market. Grace has been in there. She knows me, I tell the truth. And all of them over there. It was an employer's market. It was my market. I was running NCB at the time. Big market for us. Well, when you get down to 4.2%, economics tells you that where there's a lot of supply, the price goes down. At 16.4% or 13.4% unemployment, wages are in the employer's favor. Well, when it gets down to 4.2, Grace, Madam Grace from Grace, you get down, you have to negotiate and do well. But employers have to understand that the game has changed a bit, and you have to now look at comparison. If you're in the hospitality business, what are you paying in Barbados and Trinidad and elsewhere versus here? And if you're in the manufacturing business, you have to look at that. So the arrangement has changed. But if you have an interest, and I know big companies here, I was with one over the weekend. They don't have any problem with their employees. They don't have an issue because they have good HR policies that make sure that they're market competitive. And that's, the private sector love to talk about the market. Well, me come from there, me love to talk about the market too. So when the market comes down to 4.2%, look at yourself and raise the standard. So that's how you're going to invest in Jamaica. We want every investor in here and every ordinary Jamaican to benefit from the good economic environment that has been created. The government can create the playing field and regulate the playing field, but it's you business people must play well on the playing field so everybody feel that it's fair.
If I may.
Quick comment, Lynn.
Yes. I think one of the things as well is that as you made mention of, JAMPRO, for example, as well as the consulates and the high commissions,
Yes.
they do have this information. So I'll encourage all diasporans to really reach out to your consulates, reach out to your high commissions, reach out to JAMPRO. And this information is right there at their fingertips, in addition to what Grace made mention that we all produce newsletters. So, and we facilitate that through online distribution. So sign up with us, but of course, it's at your fingertips when you go to your high commissions or consulates.
And that's an excellent point. As you know, JAMPRO is in Toronto, New York, and London. We can't be everywhere. And so we are proud to have, as our partners, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and our economic diplomacy program, where we engage with the foreign service offices. Just last week, we did a briefing session. Every so often, we meet with them. We tell them what's happening, what sectors are doing well, what processes are changing, so that they have the information that they can pass on to you. So that's a very good point, and that gave us a plug for our EDP with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. A quick question: do I need to be a citizen, have dual citizenship to open a business in Jamaica or get funding for projects? No, you do not. You do not have to be a citizen at all to get funding or to buy land in Jamaica. You can be just anybody that is interested in being a part of our economic community.
Madam Moderator, we have a question from the floor.
Sure, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I have a question. This is for Mrs.
Could you just say your name and maybe which country?
My name is Shauna Campbell, and I relocated to Jamaica last year. I'm first generation American, so I now live in Mandeville, Manchester.
Welcome home.
So this question is for Mr. Wellington. Many of us are aware of the ongoing existing issues in Jamaica. However, your platform is one of the few that has a solution-focused, oriented approach that balances out the disempowering images of Jamaica. So can you share about the power of social media that highlights and showcases the other side of Jamaica, especially when it comes to brand Jamaica?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Shauna. So on my platform, I would like to think I'm very transparent and realistic and also publicly aware of the challenges that Jamaica has. And one of the pushbacks that I often get a lot on my platform is that Jamaica is so dangerous, and you should stay as far away as possible from Jamaica because X, Y, and Z will happen to you if you do invest here or move here. And I very much recognize whatever happens to individuals, and I'm very sorry for those families who suffer the consequences of others' actions in that regard. But nonetheless, I think a lot of times that these challenges that we face often get sensationalized and often take on that's almost like how things are here every day. And from like a lifestyle perspective, and I was talking about this on my live stream yesterday, like living and being here in Jamaica, it's like a great, great, great life. And it's just so crazy to me, and unfortunately, a lot of the negative pushback that I get on my platform is from Jamaicans who are living abroad. And that was like one of the motivations of me starting my channel. I was like, they're saying all these negative things about Jamaica, and I was like, you have no idea what you're talking about. It's not like that here. And I feel like so honored and so privileged to be able to call Jamaica my home and to live where I live and have the circle of friends that I have here. And I just want people to at least open their minds and consider that as a possibility of how their lives may look like, and also as we talk about investment opportunities down here as well. And I always say that, as I said before, and I think everybody on stage here agrees that Jamaica is moving in a very, very positive direction, more so now than ever before, talking about the economic indicators, et cetera, et cetera. But I also still believe that for those who don't like what's happening or the state of Jamaica, it is right now, for whatever reason, and you want to be a negative Nancy, that's okay. But to me, the power lies within us and within the individual. And we have to be a part of the solution and be solution-oriented. And yes, we could talk about all the whatever negative thing, and we can pull that from any state or any government or any nation in the world, and we can nitpick at all the negative things that happen there. But I think if we are more focused on solutions, more focused on building our communities, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, I have to build the whole of Jamaica, but maybe we can build the town that you came from, or the community that you came from, or Negril or Montego Bay, and focus on that, and focus on uplifting the people there and giving them opportunities. To me, that's how the nation moves forward, and that's how the nation really reaches its potential. And I think your presence here is a huge testament to that. And I think if we can collectively push out these vibes and push out this positiveness outside of this conference and take the energy from this conference and really push it out, I think we can quell a lot of the sensationalized negative things that are out there on social media.
Thank you. All right, we've got a few questions here. So if I could ask the panelists to keep it tight.
To do 1 minute, Dr. Brown, because there was another question that I could just piggyback on what was just asked. What are the opportunities in particular for young entrepreneurs in micro-business sectors?
Sure. I mean, I think it's specific to, I come from tourism, so my brain always goes to the main tourist cities, so Montego Bay, Negril, Ochi, Treasure Beach, even going out to Port Antonio and St. Thomas now. And I would say I would encourage you to look at it from a principle standpoint and see what is missing there. So for me, if you were coming to Negril and you were going to open another Jamaican restaurant, I'm like, okay, that's fine. You probably do okay. But why wouldn't you come here and go to Negril and open up, say, a sushi restaurant instead? And it's like a simple, lateral step to the left, lateral step to the right. There is a group of, I don't know them, but they're of entrepreneurs. I believe they're first-generation American Jamaicans, and they're opening Dinner in the Sky in Negril. And I'm like, that's the outside-the-box thinking that you want. That doesn't exist in Jamaica, that doesn't exist in Negril. And instead of just starting a Jamaican restaurant, I'm sure they'll probably have Jamaican food, but you're going to be 50 feet in the air over the water having dinner. And I think it's those kind of things are going to do well, and you're going to get support from the local community. And I will say too, just from my experience, is whatever business that you have, don't, again, purely my opinion, don't necessarily focus on the people who are only going to be here for a weekend or a week, visitors, tourists. Focus on the community and focus on the people who are going to support your business year-round, 365. And you want to really take as much as you can, the seasonality out of it. Of course, you'll probably do a little bit better, especially in your tourist town, if you're in the winter season. But nonetheless, to me, it's catering to your local community and getting the support there. Because even though we have all this social media, word of mouth is just still extremely, extremely powerful in this country.
Agreed.
Go ahead, Dr. Brown. Please give your name and country.
Good morning, everybody. My name is I'm Trevor Hamilton. My country, I have many countries I live in. I've worked in 45 countries. And I'm Guyanese, I'm Jamaican, and I'm from St. Elizabeth. That's a country.
You're here.
And,
You're here.
And the minister knows me well. He's reported to be from my parish to St. Bess. But I have some, I could have been a case study here, but let's not talk about that. Minister, greetings.
Good to see you, Doc.
Okay. I welcome this as a start, and I think we have to take diaspora investments seriously, the same we take foreign investments seriously. It is still not recognized as a sector, and I believe in Jamaica only when we recognize something to be important, we put everything into it. We recognize that the BPO was important, and we put every resource into the BPO. We don't recognize enough that diaspora investment is a sector. Diaspora investment, I blame the diaspora. I'm a member of diaspora too, so I can take that risk. I blame the diaspora because you have 20%, you contribute 20% to the GDP of this country. Foreign investment only contributes 3%. So foreign investment is really a minority in this whole scheme of things. And so we need to reposition the diaspora as a stronger force. We can't be directors in a company, we can't be directors, shareholders in a country and take it so lightly.
No, Doc.
No, we have diasporan directors.
Everybody, anybody from Dubai, from Guyana, from anywhere you are, as long as you are not a criminal, okay, and yet you're not money laundering or people trading, and in case you're doing it, we have good friends who will tell us. You don't have to be a Jamaican to be an investor, a shareholder, a director, and owner of land in Jamaica. Yeah. So no. Correct that. Next point.
I'm not sure you understand. With due respect, Minister, I don't want to. I'm not sure you. I'm saying.
I heard what you said.
Okay, I'm saying we need to be active in investment in our country. I came back and I'm a case study. I've invested. I've actually gone to centers and invested. And okay, look.
But it's open. We can have a one-on-one with you. But investors, it's open to everybody. Remember now, I ran NCB and NCB Capital. It's not something I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So I know that people are able to invest. If you have a particular issue, and you've been a consultant in Jamaica for years, you know the landscape. So if there's a particular issue, should let myself, any one of these leading executives
Minister,
will help.
I don't have an issue. I will not talk about anything further for the time being.
Yes, let's talk offline. I'll be happy to do that.
All right, before I take the next one, I just want to give some quick responses. Somebody asked about what are we doing with Africa, especially with trade and tech, and I feel like, Minister, that one just walked right in. So since last year, the Minister has been leading a series of export and investment business missions. And last year, I think we went Caribbean and we went traditional markets, so US, Canada, London. This year, we're doing a lot of non-traditional markets. So next month, we're doing Latin America, Mexico, Colombia, Costa Rica, and El Salvador. And at the end of August, early September, we'll be doing Nigeria, Ghana, Rwanda, and Sierra Leone. And the objective of those missions are twofold. We're not just going there talking about Jamaica and what a wonderful place we are to invest, because we are, but we're also bringing with us, Minister doesn't get on a plane without a private sector delegation, we're also bringing with us business people from Jamaica who we will put in contact with business people in those countries with a view to exporting to that country or developing business partnerships. So if you are interested in any of these missions, please talk to us at the Jamper booth in the marketplace. All of the questions that came in about mortgages, home ownership steps, requirements, mortgage rates, I'm going to ask you to go to the booth in the marketplace for GK, VM, JN, and I'm sure there are some others there.
Where's the marketplace?
The marketplace is in Block B, which is over on that side of the convention center, where they have the luncheon, yes. There were also questions about how do we funnel funds into healthcare and education and empowering the youth. And I'm going to defer those questions. I'll share them with Dr. Brown so that they can be channeled into the right panel. Dr. Brown, I have 5 minutes, so I can take maybe 1 or 2 more questions from the floor before we wrap up.
Good morning. I am Bruce Barkley, a retired colonel of the JDF and a Jamaican from the USA, Florida. I have 3 projects in Jamaica. A 5-acre farm in St. Mary, a 22 studio apartment in Vineyard Town and an Airbnb in Montego Bay. I sold the Airbnb because it was broken into, the furniture's destroyed, and the person who grilled it to secure it was murdered a month later. What my question is there a plan to rally the diaspora and Jamaicans at home and abroad, similar to how we rallied around COVID? Is there a plan to deal with crime and corruption in Jamaica? Thank you.
And there were a couple of questions on WhatsApp about crime as well.
We understand that that's a pressing issue, and there'll be a session later on, I think. The Commissioner of Police will be here, who is new, and he is a high-tech commissioner. But what I'm going to say quickly and broadly is that murders are down in Jamaica this year, quite importantly and substantially. High double-digit numbers. What we've found is that gangland crime has been down significantly. A lot of crime taking place are from domestic, especially, unfortunately, many of the murders are domestic ones. Man and woman issue, picnic and parents and three kind of parents involved, business. Now, we're working on that, and how we're working on it is for many, many years, there was really not much investment in crime. Since this government has been in, we're probably close to $250 million spent in investing in crime and giving them the tools that they need to deal with crime. Dealing with crime is also a social problem. We have to look at the moral compass in which we're training our kids or not training them. When many of us went to school, things were different. We may have to, I see they're teaching civics back in school again, but investment has to be there. We're putting the money into the police so that they can find and investigate properly. And you notice crimes are being solved much faster now in Jamaica. It will take time. We understand that the diaspora is a big issue. Sometimes they meet it at the airport. We think that is going down. But the government is working across society, Ministry of Education, business, customs, the police, to make sure that we do everything we can within a reasonable period of time to bring that crime factor down. It's having an effect, but it's a long haul, and we are committed to making sure it works.
All right, last question from the audience.
Hi, Tracy Ann, New Jersey, and also here, going back and forth every 2 weeks. I'm also an investor in one of the most beautiful resorts in Negril, which is the High Life Resort. I also building in St. Andrew, and also I send about 13 girls right now to school, and it does not matter where, and I do it out of my pocket. Now, I watched YouTube a lot, and over like probably the past 5 months, I've been seeing YouTubers are just storming in, and to sensationalize and to get their audience, they're making statements that upsets me. Like, I went to Dental, and I have to pass into Spanish Town, and they will write, and I don't want to say the actual person because he did get locked up in another country. And at first, when I saw it, I sent out to a group that is in New Jersey, and I said, how can we stop this? He will write, the most dangerous city in Jamaica, even the local doesn't visit here. And I'm wondering, why are you even there? Here's my question. How are we protecting our brand on a cyber space We don't open our doors and let people just come right in and do whatever they want in your house. Jamaica is our house. We need to know when we're closing certain doors, or we charge them for working here.
Thank you.
Oh,
Can I hop in?
I must stop.
If I could hop in.
All right, Swap will answer.
Yeah, sure. So I was at the real estate conference, I think last month and the month before, and I don't know what to do or have an answer to kind of put a net around Jamaica and its brand and protecting it in that sense, but I'm familiar, I know exactly who you're talking about and what you're talking about, and I find it like absolutely disgusting because, you know, we have our own problems here about with our own Jamaicans making content that sensationalize what's happening here, and they're doing it and making money off of it, and that's the whole thing. They're monetizing it, and they're making it bigger and worse than it is, and same thing with the folks who are coming in here, which is even more annoying because they're not even from here, but they're kind of just coming in here and just taking out value, and then we're the ones who have to suffer the consequences of that. So at the real estate conference, I told the realtors there, like, one, it's very important to make content as a realtor to get people to look at Jamaica. But two, we need to make content to combat this negativity and the sensationalization of Jamaica at scale. And I say the same thing with my fellow content creators. It's really us who are going to fight this battle because it is a battle of attention. And it's like if they're putting out more content at scale, negative content at scale, there's more of a chance that more people are going to watch that content. So we as positive content creators, I wouldn't even say positive content creators, but creators and people who are here that really are going to show the authentic aspect of what it is to live here, to invest here, and to have a good life here at the end of the day. That to me is like the best way that I know to combat these ridiculous pieces of content that are out there.
I just want to add that this is a challenge to our excellent private sector. If you see what happens, you take on a big European company or a nation, and you see they come together in force. You know, we have that issue we have to deal with the BPO. I asked Shulette and the team, the chairman of my agencies, to come up with a plan to go to cabinet as to how we're going to deal with crime that affects the BPO. Kelly Dawn will talk to you this morning about that. So we want to make sure that we do what Winthrop says. It's you in the private sector, and if you have an angle that you think the government should be working on with you, come to us. This business ministry, we're working on an overall rebranding of Jamaica, big time, through Jamaica and the OPM. We want to make sure we protect that brand. We will work with you, but for heaven's sake, this is market driven. You guys initiate, and we will join with you.
All right. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I'm having about 10 different people in front of me showing me signs that I must wrap up now. I'm going to ask you, and if I can just have my Jamaica people put up their hands in the audience. I know I see Berletta there.
Raise your hands.
We have Jamaica people. There's Marlene over there. We have the Jamaica booth. And of course, everybody here has a booth. I'm going to ask you to just catch us one-on-one, and we'll deal with the questions that you have. And Minister, I think, is here until end of day tomorrow. Very accessible as well. I'm going to also respond to everybody that sent me a WhatsApp message and direct you to the correct place. But I want to thank my panelists.
Good morning.
I think this was a very...
comment I have. I'm sorry I was on the other line. I really need to say this publicly. My name is Okama Ekpebrook. I'm originally from Nigeria. I live in Canada, and I come today from Canada. And I come as the president of the Caribbean Studies Association. I also come as the founder of the Africa Caribbean Heritage Alliance. My comment is, I'm a young person. I've traveled around the world to over 50 I travel with Nigerian passport. And each country I travel to, I have to get a visa because I'm a permanent resident of Canada. But I've been married to a Canadian for 29 years. I still travel on Canadian. Came this time, Jamaica. I applied for my entry online, and it was the most easy access I've ever had. And cost-free. And I made a pledge to all my networks that I was going to share this message wherever the opportunity. So I'm sorry to take your time, but this is a message that everybody needs to hear. That the government of Jamaica, the people of Jamaica, are really paving the way for success for the future. Thank you.
I'm so glad you took our time. Can you imagine how I'm going to say that message often when I go to my African countries later this year, but also to say that PICA, the Passport and Immigration Authority here, they actually do a very good job. And I want to say thanks to PICA and the Ministry of National Security, because that's where PICA lodges. So all we hear, we talk about crime, PICA's in the mix, like customs, and I'm so thankful for your comment. And give her a round of applause again, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep an applause going for our panelists. Yeah. Thank you so much. Big round of applause for this outstanding panel of government representatives, business leaders, thank you, Shalette, investors and members of the Jamaica Diaspora. Their insights on investment opportunities, regulatory frameworks, and collaborative strategies aimed at leveraging diaspora resources for sustainable business development has really set the tone for JDC 10. I see we're already moving around in the room, and so I invite you to enjoy a brief coffee break while continuing the dialogue on how to harness the power of the diaspora. You'll also want to check in with Government at Your Service and visit our marketplace live. And that's happening in exhibition halls B and A. Please do not be late for our first Riverside chat on succeeding at business in the diaspora, where the main program is going to resume right here. We start on time because we want to get back on time throughout the day. So I look forward to you joining me here for the Riverside chat. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great morning. See you soon.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. You may not remember.
In the heart of the Caribbean, a call echoes across the globe, a call for a momentous homecoming. This June 16 to 19, join us in Montego Bay for the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Jamaica extends a warm invitation to its global family for a gathering like no other to foster dialogue, development, and cultural immersion. This first in-person forum in 5 years offers a unique opportunity to explore innovative solutions for national development and to forge strategic alliances. We will address vital topics at the intersection of Jamaica's progress and the unique experiences of its global community. This conference is more than just a meeting. It's a melting pot of ideas and action. Born from an initiative in 1993, this gathering has evolved into a powerful movement that shapes Jamaica's policies and development strategies. From promoting investments to fostering heritage pride, the conference is a testament to Jamaica's proactive approach to engaging its diaspora. While at the conference, take advantage of fast-tracked government services exclusively for attendees. Plan and execute a Diaspora Day of Service activity in a community of your choice. Reconnect with our roots, network, explore business and development opportunities, and re-establish connections, all while savoring local cuisine. Our goal is action. We're not just talking, we're planning, executing, and growing together. Join us as we write the next chapter in Jamaica's story, one of unity, innovation, and collective growth. Register now at diasporaconferenceja.eventbrite.com. Don't miss out. Our early bird special of $160 for 3 days ends May 15. The 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference, united for Jamaica's transformation, fostering peace, productivity, and youth empowerment.
VM, we're here for you. We are written into this land. You are written into our story. Together stronger we stand. Your win is our victory. We're a firm foundation. Here to stay. Build you a brighter way. Transform your everyday. Transform your
VM Group. Transform your everyday.
Let's face it, buying a home can be quite stressful and costly. At JN Bank, we understand you have big plans for the future. That is why we've created mortgage options suited to your needs. With almost no money down, unsecured loans to cover upfront costs, and flexible payment plans. We're committed to making the home buying process possible. Let JN Bank make your goal of owning a home a reality. Contact us today and take the first steps towards owning your own sweet home. JN Bank will help you find a way.
Attention Jamaicans abroad! Participate in the Diaspora Day of Service on June 20, which follows the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Plan a project or join an existing one. Whether you're planting seeds of change, sharing your skills, or lending a helping hand, together we can build a brighter future for our fellow Jamaicans. Register today and learn more at diasporaconferenceja.eventbrite.com. Sponsored by JN Group, VM Group, and Grace Kennedy. A message from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. This June 16 to 19 will be a momentous homecoming at the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Immerse yourself in the conference and take advantage of the government at your service feature. Access express services to get your passport, driver's license, NHT returns, TRN, and so much more. It all happens on the spot. Register today and learn more at diasporaconferenceja.eventbrite.com. Sponsored by JN Group, VM Group, and Grace Kennedy. A message from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.